friends. Welcome to Presto 2 Parent Orientation. I hope that you appreciate and enjoy this method of presenting because I'm kind of enjoying it. I didn't have to clean my bathroom. I didn't have to get anything ready for you except that view right there. And you get to be at home like in your pajamas on the couch with your phone or whatever watching this. So I am going to also, in honor of your time and my time, try to make this as brief as possible, covering the main points that I need you to know before we get started. This audience actually has a variety of students and backgrounds. Some are coming from Presto 1 to Presto 2. Some are coming from Let's Play Music to Presto 2. Some are repeating Presto 2. So please just know that I'm going to try and cover it thoroughly, but that I'm primarily speaking to the parent who has never done Presto 2 before, that is not familiar with that and is coming from Presto 1. So that may or may not be you, but let's get to it. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Hopefully you can see my beautiful PowerPoint here. Welcome to our parent meeting. So, all right. What is new in Presto 2? This is so exciting, seriously, the purple chord. So Let's Play Music does not ever even introduce this to the children. The purple chord is unique to Presto, although if you know anything about music, it is the minor sixth chord. So the red, yellow, blue, and purple are found all throughout music. And when they have all four of them to be able to build like a chord progression on, they can just about play any song, which is so cool to be able to like actually figure out songs that they're hearing on the radio, common music, and to really understand like why it's put together that way. We're also going to be giving primarily in the Orange Root semester, but I'm talking about chord theory. So I'm going to give you a little like introduction today, and I hope it doesn't freak you out. I hope that it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is interesting. It'll be awesome. You will be so impressed that your children are learning this. There are 4 new rhythms that we are using some fun ways to be able to feel syncopation, because that is a tricky thing, even when you know the number counting system, 1 E and a 2 E and a, to be able to feel those offbeats and where to place a note on an offbeat. And so we learn to first be able to feel them, just recognize the notation and be like, oh, that's a hello. Let's see, hello there, bug. But in Presto, I forgot to put my bird in another room. It's fine. We're doing this. We do actually introduce the number counting system because no piano teacher is going to know what they're talking about with caterpillars and grasshoppers and butterflies and stuff. Although I bet they'll retain that for years to come. I still use it. We do teach them the 1 and 2 and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. So that does translate to private piano. But first we learn to feel it, which is awesome. Note reading, we're reading C2 through C6. So Presto 1 set us up for not only labeling a note by its name, but also by its number. So that when they see a C on the staff, they're not thinking, well, is it that C or is it that C or which C is it? They know exactly. 2 lines down from the bottom of the staff is a C2, 2 ledger lines up is a C6. They know it in a snap, and that makes them very confident sight readers, which is so much more fun to be able to play the piano. So in a flash club, we're going to use this as an opportunity to develop a personal best time, right? Like the Olympics. So we're not competing as a class, we're not competing against each other. Each week we'll be comparing our flashcard times to the week prior so that we can see the ways that we are improving in and of ourselves, and there will be some prizes associated with that. Note dictation is so exciting that we are even trying to teach this to children. As you can guess, private piano teachers rarely have time for the music history and dictation and some of these things that really create the complete musician. There's just not time for that in a 30-minute private lesson. So like, what an amazing way to pull it all together for a child. So not only are they reading and playing music, but they will be writing it this year too. We use our little note eater. We have used him last year in recognizing playing patterns that they've never seen before, sight reading. and playing each note and not going on until you know that you've got that note, no guessing, right? So our note eater, we're also going to learn to be able to look at patterns, notes moving down, notes moving up, notes skipping, notes doing big leaps of fourths and fifths and sixths, and be able to notate that so that their eyes can read those intervals a lot quicker and easier. Key signatures, we're learning a variety of key signatures, and what is amazing is the ability for them to be able to swap between key signatures, to see something written in the key of C and play it in the key of G, or see something written in the key of F and play it in the key of C, which is so cool. But it's based on how we've been able to learn these intervals and these jumps, and not necessarily that's A and that's B. It is much harder for my brain to do that because I'm I guess I'm a strong like note reader, but it comes with some unfortunate side effects as well. These kids really, it's impressive the way they can transpose. And lastly, this is the year that they are writing a song. I've been kind of like mentioning that all along the way because it really is such a big deal. As we're learning to write music, we're learning how larger pieces of music are put together with different themes and different variations, and an A and B and A section. They are taking all of that and actually putting their own songs together. We'll talk a little bit more about that in another slide. So our materials, they have a songbook. They have, oh, sorry, more about the songbook. In the songbook, actually during class is where we have these note eaters that we are doing as a group. They also have some in their homework. And so help them remember that they have learned how to do this in class and they can't just skip over it in their homework because they don't remember. That's common. And we're not going to put up with it. All right. There are QR codes for each song. You guys are so lucky. We have got new second edition materials. So some of the issues that I guess you guys didn't face, anyone who did Presto last year did face them. The Presto 1 was actually second edition as well last year. So we don't have to deal with some of those, but they have these QR codes. What's awesome about the QR codes is not only do they help the child remember what we've gone over in class, but sometimes they also take the song to the next level. So maybe we will only be working on the first 2 lines in class, and then it gives them some hints on how to go on if they're ready for a challenge. Oh, and the back of the songbook and the back of the workbook both have a reference section, and I'll show you one of those in just a second. The bench warmers, if you're familiar with how they looked in Presto 1, look a little different this year. I'm going to show you one real quick. They have, instead of like day 1, do this, day 2, do this, day 3, do this. Instead, they have the expectation for the week, and that kind of throughout the week, you're working to get to this point. So it may say, play the first 2 lines hands together. That does not mean that on the first day, they've got to like cry and sob and whine through the first 2 lines hands together. It totally can mean that on day 1, this child needs right hand, just the first 2 measures, right? Until they feel confident on it. The second day, maybe they're working on the last 2 measures of the first line, so that by the end of the week, the idea is that by the end of the week, they can reach that goal. And as you can guess, those assignments build on each other so that it's not from the get-go, they're supposed to be able to play both hands, whatever, by the end of the week. Let's see, note eaters. This is where I was mentioning, they do this in class. So they are taught how to do this in class. Please always feel like you can send me like a Marco Polo or something for a little video explanation to remind them of how it goes. Because a lot of these come back to me blank because they're like, I didn't know what to do, Miss Jeanette, but we do it in class. So these note eaters are part of the assignment. So the bench, let's see, the bench warmer is just what they do each week. The bench pal, if you remember, is when mom or dad or big brother or whatever sits down with them and helps them work through things. You'll be doing some of this with them. And then there is some that they're expected to be able to do on their own throughout the week. So just know that that's new this year. The reference section I wanted to show you. I believe it's the back of, yes, love it. The back of the workbook. So the songbook also has like some song lyrics. No, just kidding. That's on the back of the workbook. Oh, it has musical expressions. It has some, well, it does have some of our song lyrics, but the workbook seriously has such fun stuff. So we learned some of our lines with certain like stories or key things in mind. So like Mrs. Trebleclef, I don't know if you can see her little face. Mrs. Trebleclef has a baby in her belly, right here. So this middle line is B for her belly or her back or her baby, whichever one. Her face, F, is here on that top line. And poor, poor Mrs. Trebleclef, because she's got a baby in her tummy, she kind of waddles and she stomps around like an elephant on the bottom line. Anyway, so silly things like that make those flashcards, I want to say make sense, but at least it makes them stick, right? Which makes it way more fun to do flashcards if you're remembering this little story to go along with it. It also makes them a lot more just like fast in a flash, right? That they can remember those note names, because strong, confident sight readers of music have much more fun at the piano because they can kind of sit down and play whatever they want. All right, Prestissimo is kind of the next level of challenge, right? So some of these are things that we discuss in class, like I might mention to them, if you want to go on for another challenge, you can work on the second 2 lines of this song. Or the next page of this song. It's intended to be somewhat optional, but I would love it if each kid just kind of gave it a try. It's part of the leveling strategy of Presto 2. In order to be able to offer to those kids that are ready for something more and need a challenge, something more, and to also have a clear line of like, oh my goodness, if we can get through nothing else, let's just learn the first 2 lines, right? To help them feel confident and successful with a manageable chunk. So challenge chunks. Now these are covered in class for sure. And I guess this is more for sure what I want the kids to attempt. What is so fun about the challenge songs is they are so fun. They're written to be motivating, or they are selected. Some of them are written by Annalie Dinkel, the creator of Presto, and some of them are adapted by her as a song that maybe they've heard before. And it's so fun to be able to play something that, oh, my friends will recognize this. This is actually like high quality music, right? So with the challenge songs, some students may require some modifications. It does not have to be that they are tackling the entire thing, but I do want everyone to give it a try. If they only get through the right hand of it, it's like, cool, I'll take it. Now there are above and beyond songs. So these are rarely covered in class. They have the QR codes on them. Let's see, there's like a whole section here. Oh, yep, like this one. They have QR codes on them for your child to be able to take a look and get started. I believe that they're also mentioned in the homework book, like this is the point at which your child should be able to work their way through this song if they want to take on a new song. And if it's something that they want, please reach out to me. My availability for private lessons is relatively limited this year, but for an occasional lesson, they really want to perfect this song, like, oh, reach out to me. It would be such a joy to be able to help them tackle something hard that they want to do. All right, note reading. So first, last year we were primarily focused on the 8 C's, right? Each family on the keyboard and on the staff. This year we've got a super fun song that is fast-paced and exciting. It's called Trouble Bass Line in Space, and it's kind of like a rap song. And the kids find it so fun to be able to memorize these note patterns. So instead of like, every good boy does fine, that I always learned, and I guess it worked. They've got this E, G, B, D, F, A, C. These are the lines of the treble, you see, right? And so it's super fun for them to be able to recognize those notes, to quickly be able to find what the note is, play it on the piano, and really does make for a happy pianist. The workbook that I showed you with these, some of these hints, these are some of the ways that we show. Oh, does it say what page? 91. Yes. These are the Mrs. Trebleclef and stuff, are some of the ways that we teach those so that they can remember in a snap. Those are helpful. It also, the lyrics of the Trouble Bass Line in Space is also a fun way to help support your child at home when they are working to do flashcards or just note decoding. Note game in Roots bench warmer. So this isn't until the second semester, but just kind of put in the back of your head, if you already have this app or if you're familiar with it, we will be using the app Note Rush. It's just fun, it's easy. You can set the number of notes that it's quizzing them on to a smaller range or a larger range, and it listens through the microphone of your device to hear them play it. So they aren't just like flashcards having to like F, G, A, whatever. They actually have to find it on the piano before it gives them credit, which is a whole lot more the process of note decoding, right? Like, even if you can say it really fast, if you can't find it on the piano, you're still gonna be frustrated. So just know that that's coming. And I will let you know when that needs to be purchased. In a flash club, oh, I mentioned that. Oh, I should have grabbed the flashcards. So they will be receiving flashcards the very first day, actually. All of their materials I'll have for them in the first class. And if they have their Presto bag, have them bring that, or a Let's Play Music bag, or even just any bag that these things can come home in. That way they all make it home. That way they always make it back to class too. This year, we aren't going to be doing like any COVID restrictions on how we turn in homework. They'll bring their books, they'll take them home, things like that. But if they've got their bag, that helps make sure that we're not accidentally like passing a lot of materials between students. I can go in their bag, out of their bag, back in their bag, and back home. All right. The flashcards, though, I wanted to mention, they come with a rubber band. And the very first week that I give them to you, or the first week of class, they will have some of them unbanded and some of them are still rubber banded. Keep that rubber band, or at least like know that if it gets lost, please go find another rubber band. It's intended to make sure that they are not overwhelmed, but able to like follow along with what we're working on and not move on to more flashcards than they've mastered so far. So they feel successful all along the way and never overwhelmed. So keep the rubber band around the ones that Miss Jeanette says are not allowed to be unbanded yet. All right. Lastly, on this slide, research tells us that memory, like I don't research, like who are these people, but that it takes certainly a large number of repetitions to make a neural pathway in the brain where the brain can just like make those connections super quick. But when it's fun, when it's playful, when they feel happiness doing it, those connections are made so much faster. And what a blessing. All right, in your, here we go. In your workbook, on some of the weeks, there will be this symbol right here, this little like spotlight. It says showtime next week, and it usually is referencing a very specific song. Oh, here we go. There's one right here. Referencing a specific song that will be shown. I was going to say passed off, but that's not really even the point. Let's see, I'm going to click through this. Showtime symbol. What else we got? Okay, so it's intended to just be kind of a snapshot of where they're at. Some kids come to Showtime only being able to play one hand. Cool. What's awesome is when the next Showtime comes around and I can show them, last time you only played the Showtime song with one hand, this time you were playing it with two hands. Like, that's improvement. It's that opportunity to kind of like take a snapshot of where they're at and be able to show improvement. Ideally, they would be able to play along with the practice track. I don't usually have them play along to play it for the class with the practice track, but the practice track seriously so much more fun than a metronome. And it helps them keep a steady beat. If they mess up, the song keeps going without them and they've got to learn to catch up, because that's music in real life. The rest of your performers or whoever you're playing music for, or the singers or whatever, they keep going even if you mess it up. So the practice track is so valuable and just truly applicable to real life. They should always in lessons at home, they should be playing with proper piano technique. And I'm always watching that. I'm always correcting and stuff. But their lesson time is relatively minimal to the number of times that they are playing a song. So keep an eye on that at home. This is also my chance to be able to see how are their habits in piano technique progressing. Are they truly practicing with those things without being reminded? And it is helpful to them, really, if it's memorized. It just helps them be able to keep going without, if they're still like reading and decoding every note, it's going to be a rough showtime. So, and I do typically offer prizes on these days for those that have worked hard, as kind of a recognition of their hard work. Okay, so composition. I'm just going to give you a tiny bit that you need to know, but please know it's minimal. This is mostly my thing, and I love it. I love it, every minute of it. Their Orange Roots books, which will come next semester in January, they have like a step-by-step process. So like on week 1 in class, I'm saying, what is your inspiration? What do you love? What would you want to write a song about? Do you love gymnastics? Do you love puppies? Do you love, you know, and that is easy for kids. Oh, I love Pokemon. I love Minecraft, always comes up. So that spring, winter semester, lessons 6 and 11 will be composition in class. So you won't have to do anything. If they ever have an idea that they want captured because they're afraid they're going to forget before class, if you have the skills to help them notate it, like super cool. But know that that does not have to happen. You totally could send me a video or Marco Polo, whatever, of like maybe them playing a little theme that they want to not forget. In class, we'll be working on lessons 6 and 11, but the note dictation that we've been doing all along really is helpful because it allows them to work a little more independently as I kind of move around the class and I say, okay, what have you got? Let's show me that. Okay, let's start writing that down and help them get that notated and then move on to the next kid. And okay, you start figuring out the next part and I'll be back around. So I look forward to this. All throughout, they know they're going to be writing this song. I'm going to be telling them from the beginning, and I'm pretty sure I've been telling them all last year too, but encourage them to like just kind of play around on the keyboard. Do they like high notes? Do they like low notes? Do they like big chords with lots of notes? Do they like just simple little melodies? Do they like major? Do they like minor? Help them kind of figure out like what things sound good to them. And the highlight, seriously, the end of the year recital, when they get to perform a piece that they have written themselves. Coolest thing ever. Such a neat thing to celebrate, but certainly builds so much confidence in kids regarding music. All right, chord theory, here's your lesson really quick. For some kids, or the kids usually pick this up before the parents. So know that if this only sort of makes sense to you, totally fine. This will come up later and come up several times. And I hope that this introduction is simply either a chance for you to be like, okay, she said something about this a while ago. This is at least my second exposure to it, right? Or that you're like, what? I get this. I've learned this. I can't believe we're teaching this to kids. This seriously was stuff that I was learning in my college music theory class. This was not anything I learned growing up. So, okay, the most important thing you need to know is in regard to our red, yellow, blue chord, we are used to seeing them in certain positions. Our red chord was in a stacked up snowman shape. A blue chord was in top heavy with 2 on the top and 1 a fourth down below, and the yellow chord was 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top, right? So we're used to seeing those shapes and recognizing them as red, yellow, blue chords. But we also, in class, you probably haven't seen this because in class we've been singing with my little triangles, do, mi, so, do, mi, so. I think that may have even been one of the songs that they played last year, but we were singing those chords in their broken pieces, do, mi, so, do, fa, la, ti, re, so. And so here's what you need to know. That was a long introduction to here's what you need to know. The red, yellow, blue chord are defined not by their shape, but by their pieces. Did you get that? Not shape, pieces. So those pieces can be in any shape. So I want to show you really quick right here. We've got a chord built on C, C, E, G. We've got a chord built on F, F, A, C. We've got a chord built on G. And if we, these are all chords that are not red chords. They are in snowman shape and they are in root position. But this is actually a red chord here at the beginning, a blue chord here on the F, and a yellow chord here on the G. They have just been moved around. The notes have just been moved around so that they are all in what's called root position. Let's see. I'm going to move down to this. Inversions are taking the same notes and just moving them into different shapes. So here we've got a C, E, G with C4, middle C. If we take C4 and we move it up to this space right here, it is C5. And so now we've got the same E and G we had before, but we have C5. We still have just C, E, and G. Do, mi, so in the key of C, that would be our red chord. Now, same thing, if you notice this G stays on the bottom, but I took the E off the bottom, E4, and I moved it up to E5. Now we're in a different shape. We're in a top heavy shape. We're used to seeing our blue chord in that shape, but that's just because blue chord is typically played in a top heavy shape. This one is still a red chord because it is still only C, E, and G. I did not change the pieces. It's about the pieces, not the shape. Then if I take the G from G4 and put it up on the top for G5, I'm back in root position, but every single one of these was a red chord. Don't freak out if that didn't make any sense. I'm going to give you one more explanation. The red, yellow, and blue chords, other than Presto and Let's Play Music, like nobody uses those terms. So this year we will also be converting those to 1, 4, and 5 chords. They are typically written in music theory with Roman numerals, and we won't be learning that, but we will learn to call them a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord. Here's why they are called that. If I take a scale and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1, because at the top we get to do again, right? We can build a triad, a little 3 stacked notes on top of each one of those notes. So here I did one on C, and then I moved up and I did one on D, the 2nd note of the scale, and then I did one on E, the 3rd note of the scale. See, named it number 3. Here I did it on F, the 4th note of the scale, and named it 4. And the red chord is the 1 chord. It's the home chord. That one is usually easy for kids to remember. It's in root position. The 2 chord, 3 chord are both minor chords. That's why they're actually written in lowercase Roman numerals. But this next major chord is actually our 4 chord. It is our blue chord. That's what I meant to say. Of course, it's the 4 chord. That's what I just said. But this is actually our blue chord. Our blue chord is blue and has the function that it has to kind of feel like it's off playing because it is built on the 4th note of the scale. The 5 chord, the next major chord, is the yellow chord. Interestingly enough, we sing about our yellow is the chord that leads us back to red. And 5, the chord that is built on the 5th note of the scale, tends to have that use in a song to bring back to the home chord, back to the 1 chord. So we've been talking about these like uses of these chords all along the way. We've learned to play them in what's called cadence position. This year, we're going to be learning them in all the shapes, all the inversions, and we're going to learn why they are not red, yellow, and blue, but 1, 4, and 5. I hope that made a tiny bit of sense. If not, you're fine. All right, bench warmer. So a couple of things I want you to know about this year. Let's see, I'm just going to click through these again. Oh, go back. There we go. Okay, so the bench pal. Let's see, reminder, bench warmer was all the stuff to be completed throughout the week. Bench pal is usually, I guess it's the 3rd page of the practice pages here. But this is the one that mom, dad, big brother, a paid neighbor, someone comes to sit down with your child. This really truly makes them a much more independent practicer, which don't we all want that, right? If you take the time for that 1 time a week to like literally schedule like Tuesdays at 4 o'clock, mom will sit with you and help you through this. Then they know what the expectation is at the end of the week. They kind of have a feel for which songs they're working on. You will have one of these again this year, the little binder clip, so that when you're on week number 12, you can clip all the other ones. And when you go say time to practice, they're not like, I don't know which page. It's like locked in, so they have to go to the right page, right? They know exactly what's expected. I also will be providing these little post-it flags for those that used them last year. I got a lot of good feedback that they were very helpful. I find them like invaluable in my own home, but they'll probably actually be put in, let's see, probably in the back. I found that you really didn't need a whole stack of them, right? Because it was like maybe 6 songs or something that you needed to mark each week. So I'm going to put like several of them just like flagged in the back here so that you can pull them off and stick them on a song when you need them. If there's fewer songs that week, they have a place to go in the back. But those are so helpful during that bench warmer to go and label all the songs. This is where they should be. All the songs in the songbook that are being worked on that week. So that when your child goes to sit down, especially if they're 7, 8, and this box of text is super overwhelming for them. They just know, like, practice all the ones with stickies on them, right? So those are going to be available to you. The CDs, I am so excited, you guys. You know, all of every one of you has at least been around for a year with Let's Play Music and know the headache of like the digital downloads and they don't even do CDs anymore. Anyway, they have an app and I have been using it all summer. I taught like a little tiny toddler age class this summer. It was amazing. It was so fantastic. So I will send you an email that has the information on how to access the app, where to download it. It's available both Android and Apple. And you basically just log in with your credentials and it should have the albums that are available to you having already signed up for different levels of Presto or Let's Play Music. And it's seriously, it has been flawless for me. I know that there have been some people that have had issues, but they really have done an excellent job. And I'm so pleased. It is so much easier. You might want to put that on like an iPad or an iPod or something that your child has access to so they don't have to ask for your phone. Because especially in this Presto 2 level, the song lyrics teach them music theory. So you're not going to want to skip that. When they could just sing along with like a jazzy beat and be talking about music theory, then they come to class and I'm like, oh, here's why this and this and this and this. Like, it just makes sense to them. It is not something that you'll want to skip. And now it's so much easier. There are flashcards. This suggests that you are practicing all the songs every single time they practice. I'm going to tell you, please don't make piano a fight. Please support your child as your best self in expecting practice, in setting them up for successful practice, in sitting down with them to complete the bench pal so that they feel confident to tackle things the rest of the week. But know that like those things can be adjusted and split into different days and different things to tackle so that it feels doable. I would say the most important thing is to make piano consistent. And I have found in my own life that is typically done in small ways. So if I'm saying, you know, you got to sit down for an hour and a half every day and play every song 5 times, like, not going to happen. If I say just get your bum on the bench, 5 minutes, tackle something every day, every single day, it happens. Consistent practice is so much more important than the amount of time in my book. And since you signed up with me, maybe you would want to adopt that theory too. All right. Let's see. Okay, there are sometimes some composer corner things to complete at home. Typically we're doing it in class, but if they were dinking around or if they kind of had some more thoughts that they wanted to add, there's that chance to do them, and it prompts you in the homework. Yeah, there is also the music theory that they're doing a little bit each day. They'll do the first day with you in the bench pal, and then they'll be doing it at home. All right. I kind of mentioned this. Schedule practice on the family calendar, especially if you've got other children, older, younger, that also need the piano. It is so helpful when they just know 3:30 is my turn at the piano, 4:30 is my turn at the piano. An alarm goes off on the Allegra. We have to call her an Allegra, otherwise she like talks to me every time I say her name. You know what I mean? And set an alarm, and people just know, like, oh, that means time to practice. That makes so much difference when it's just scheduled into part of your routine. And I kind of mentioned this. Feel free to like divide that bench warmer, divide the bench pal, make it work for your family. Okay, you can read it. Students who get the opportunity to do their bench pal experience a higher success rate. Absolutely. You can probably understand why. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. Just prioritize it, but really honestly in a way that works for you. And please know that you're not allowed to have the way that works for you not doing it. Anyway, I just want it to work for you so that you'll actually do it. All right, next, higher practice help. This seriously, like if you've got like a teenager 2 doors down who would love like $5 for half an hour, whatever, to come and sit with your child and do the bench pal, do it. If that is not your thing, do it. Okay, and then here's another suggested way to modify the bench warmer is to highlight every other song and have them, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're doing the highlighted ones. On Tuesday, Thursday, they're doing the ones that weren't highlighted so that it doesn't feel as overwhelming. Oh, you did need to know about chunky practicing. Hold on. There we go. Chunky practicing is just the Presto 2 is written up to teach it this way. So you're just taking like a measure, 2 measures, even sometimes half of a measure when you're trying to put hands together and there's just so much to like coordinate. It's playing that part over and over and over and over. Like that is what it is to practice. To practice is not to play the song you already know that's fun to play. It's to get better at the hard parts, right? And that really is best done through teeny tiny chunks that are played over and over and over. One thing that helps at my house is chocolate chips. Like you have to play it 10 times, but each time you play, you get a chocolate chip and it's only 1 measure, or it's only 2 measure, or it's only 1 line, or it's only right hand, or whatever. Keep it tiny. The chunk should be small, and like play it over and over and over. And that may be all you get to. They might even be thrilled if you're like, you don't even have to play the whole song. Just play this hard measure right here, both hands 10 times. And I'll give you a chocolate chip each time, right? Like, I think my kids would be, well, I know my kids would be on board. I do that. All right, here we go. A few class studio policies. As part of the email that I'll be sending this parent orientation, you probably already saw that my studio policies are linked there. So read through those. Attendance is important. This year, I will not have an automatic Zoom option. So please know that it's like available. I still have all the welcome technology from last year's wildness. But in general, I want kids in class. My keyboards are still all spaced out so that we're 6 feet away from each other. Masks are optional. I'm going to kind of in general go with the direction of the schools. And I hope that we can just like wash our hands before we come, don't come if we're sick, just all of the general health guidelines and not have to wear masks. I want to see those little faces in class, especially when we're trying to like sing and stuff like that. It's tricky. Let's see. Oh, okay. Looking over here at the class time. Oh, class time is 60 minutes. So last year was a little bit weird. We're doing this the real way this year. I hope you're excited. Zoom, if you give me an hour at least, some notification before class starts when I'm running around trying to get everything ready to also set up the Zoom. It is totally available, but it's not going to be automatically available. Let's see, policy form, yeah, fill those out. The calendar will be in the books, but I also emailed that to you. And oh, ignore the Google Doc thing. That's not been made available this year based on my sanity level and ability to get ready for the semester. One other thought in regard to COVID, we will do the hand washing and sanitizing and stuff like that. And oh, I was going to say something important and it's gone. We'll see if it comes back. Okay, tuition, it's the same as last year. I've got it set up to be the first of each month. You'll get or I guess it's the last of each month that you'll get the invoice for the first of each month, the following month. And you won't actually get an invoice until the 1st of September. Well, the end of August. So you'll probably attend class before you actually get an invoice, but you can pay all at once or you can pay in those semester or the monthly chunks. It doesn't matter to me. This is what I was going to say. I only have 2 classes this year. So I also feel like with proper hand washing, sanitizing keyboards, stuff like that, that the intermixing of a lot of families and students like I had last year is not going to be as much of an issue. So I hope that that feels comfortable to you. If you have concerns with COVID or just other things, please reach out to me. This year incentives, I'm going to go back to what I used to do, Beethoven bucks for practice, and then I have like a class store a couple times a semester where they can buy things with their Beethoven bucks. That way they're getting kind of like an immediate reward, but a reward that then has to be like saved up for an actual reward, right? Anyway, it has suited me really, really well. But then there will be extra surprise prizes for like challenges and different things like that. Lastly, yes, bring all of your stuff. Homework, songbook, Presto bag. And if you still have your marker pouch from last year, bring that. That's helpful. Okay. Lastly, music shouldn't be about perfection. It should be about progression and joy. And seriously, like that is at the heart of my teaching theory, most definitely. There's going to be a variety of levels within a semester, within a class of students that are tackling hard stuff sometimes and not other times. And that's just how it goes. But oh my goodness, it should definitely be about celebrating our progress, but beyond anything else, finding joy in music, because that is my joy. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Look over the other stuff that were part of the email, and please let me know if you have any questions. Bye.